I have a special treat for you guys today. We were talking about 1468 products on this webinar. And who I have with me today is Frankie and Daniel. They are the guys that are behind the 1468 design and products. And just kind of, if I was to pull back a curtain a little bit about how we connected, it's really kind of a modern story. We actually were admirers of our work online, and we've really met online, right? So it's one of those modern things. So they're coming to us from far away, right? We have Daniel Hill from South Africa, and Frankie is in UK. So I just want to have them tell you guys a little bit about their inspiration, who they are, and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun to see into the brains of the guys that create stuff. So first question for you guys is, how did you even get into product design? And maybe tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Thanks first of all for the time, Slavi. Really appreciate it. So essentially, I grew up in a very artistic family. My mother is in ballet, my dad's in graphic design, exhibition design, and I pretty much just grew up around that. And it was a natural progression that I started following design and architecture. And once I finished school, I went and studied architecture and interior architecture. And essentially working in that environment, sort of came across having to design various bespoke items to suit those spaces. You just couldn't find what you were looking for on the market. And that's where the product design sort of development for myself came from, and just carried on from there. I've been working for 25 years in the industry. I started out in South Africa, then moved out to Dubai for 10 years, worked in the Middle East, and been in the UK now for 4 years, working with architectural firms before actually branching off and essentially with Daniel starting 1468.
From my side, I've had a creative agency for over 20 years now. And with that came a passion for product design and creative process. And Frankie and I got together, and I just love that journey of discussing concepts and seeing them through to the prototyping stage and into our catalog. And it brings me great joy and a sign of accomplishment to see what we've designed in its intended environment. And we just love design.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, it absolutely makes a perfect sense, right? Sort of seeing the need, right? Because there's holes in the market, understanding how that works. And then, Daniel's eye for how to represent something, how to put it out there is really, really great. So so obviously a lot of your inspiration comes from seeing what's needed, but what are the other areas that you find inspiring?
Well, I love Mark Twain's quote. I don't know if you've heard it, saying there's no such thing as a new idea. It's impossible. We simply take a lot of old ideas, put them together, and kind of sort it into a mental kaleidoscope. And then we give it a bit of a turn, and we make new and curious combinations. I think for me, I get inspiration from nature and great design. I mean, there's a lot of great design out there. Nature and architecture is where I get my design inspiration from.
Elaborating on that, essentially, it's not just the design process that we focus on. It's about offering a solution to architects and designers, even the end users, the clients. Things can look great, but it's all about the form and the function, all collaborating together for an end product and for an end sort of project. Everything needs to work together in harmony. And that's what it's about. It's not just that we specifically focus on a product. It's what does that product do within a space? How does it react with people and their emotions and things like that? And that inspiration, as Dan sort of mentioned, nature, other architectural projects. It doesn't really matter. It's just bringing it all together and trying to essentially create something different with that. Every line has been drawn. It's just how you rearrange those lines to create something really, really interesting.
Specifically to your pieces, right? When you look at them, I always like to describe your stuff, especially with ceiling products, sort of like almost like a floating work of art, right? It kind of adds a whimsy and some movement to it, and it doesn't come across as saying, "Hey, I am here to absorb sound," right? That it really just kind of looks like it belongs, right? Sometimes people are like, "Oh, this looks really complex," they get a little scared. But talk to us a little more about what you touched on is the functionality and the ease of installs and ease of assembly and how it kind of goes together, and those things that are really actually the important parts in a design.
Yeah, I mean, sustainability is one of the big things. It's at the forefront of everybody's conversation within design these days. So finding PET rather, was sort of fell into our lap. It's a great material. It's sustainable. It's obviously recycled plastic bottles. It's 100% recyclable at the end of the day. So we took that material, and obviously it comes in flat sheets, and we wanted to create something three-dimensional, sort of take that flat form and really create something interesting. And as you mentioned, something that fits into a space. We wanted to create landscapes within spaces. Ceilings with architects are often sort of neglected, and with the products we've designed, we feel that sort of adds a lot of excitement back into designing ceilings and designing those interesting spaces with the function of acoustic performance within the product itself. So taking that idea of a flat two-dimensional piece of material and developing it into three-dimensional forms is pretty much where it all started. We wanted to do something really different and add that interest into the product, which then essentially goes into the spaces. Even though a lot of the product looks quite complex to put together, it's a really simple process. So sticking with the sustainability aspect of it all, we wanted to avoid any sort of mechanical fixings and glues and just keep it almost pure in a way. Just take the PET material and use that. So we developed friction slot systems, so everything fits together. The systems are highly modular. So whether a client has a 10 square meter space or 100 square meter space, you could take that same product and just build it up in its modules to cover whatever space is required. And that's really it. It's a really simple process, and simplicity is normally the best way to go. Once you start over designing and over complicating things, it becomes exactly that, just overthought. So we wanted to keep it simple, but still create something really, really interesting. And the friction slot systems have worked out absolutely, fantastically for the products we design.
What's next on the horizon for you guys?
I think, there's a lot of, our minds are never stop going. We're in the design process 24/7. But for the moment, what I focus on at the moment is the acoustic lighting. So we really want to open up that category, and because we have so many ideas and products in mind that we want to develop, and we've developed a few so far, which we're about to prototype.
We do sound lights too. We don't do that much with it, but I'm always also the addition of the whole shadows and all that. It just gives it another thing to the product, right? It's like that's maybe why all designers are, I think, attracted to. I want to do one light, in a design. Every designer, everybody's like, I just want to create one, like a light. There's always like this one light. It's just gonna do like magic, right, for us. So anyway, anything else as we wrap up? Anything else that you want to add to this conversation that maybe I forgot to ask about?
What's next on the horizon? We're just going to continue to come up with new products. Work with Fräsch. I think the collaboration has been absolutely outstanding. It's been such a working with other design-minded people, sort of in the direction that we're going, it's just an absolute fantastic collaboration, and we absolutely love it. So it's just that continuous development of new product to bring out onto the market. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we at Fräsch can only echo the sentiment. We absolutely have enjoyed it. I can tell you, people love what you guys make. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I know we are all in different time zones, so I do appreciate everybody finding a little time in a day, a night to do this. Thanks again, and we'll speak soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Slavi. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.